In a world clouded by distractions, deception, and half-truths, this podcast is your refuge for clarity, conviction, and Christ-centered conversation. Join us as we navigate the narrow path, challenging the noise of the culture with biblical wisdom, honest dialogue, and the hope found only in Jesus. Welcome to Narrow Path Navigators. On our last episode, we covered our first stop on our scenic route to Jesus, where we shared our personal experiences with Muslim influences in our childhood, our Quran study classes, and our ultimate rejection of Islam. If you haven't watched it, we suggest you do before watching this episode so that you'll have a better understanding of how we got here. On this episode, we will share our second stop on our long journey to Jesus, where we will be talking about how we were deceived into New Age beliefs and practices. Let's get started. In 2009, I moved to Los Angeles for a couple of different reasons, mainly because I'd just bored of Atlanta, and we have family in Los Angeles, and one day I was working and I turned around to a friend of mine and I was like, I want to move to LA. And she's like, okay, I'll go with you. So a year later, we moved, and it was probably the best and worst decision of my life. I moved out to LA because I just felt like I had outgrown Atlanta and I needed a change in my life. And there were just so much going on. And also Tanya was in Los Angeles, and we used to travel to Los Angeles every year growing up and visited family there. And as a teenager, I always knew that I wanted to move to Los Angeles. And when Tanya was out there, that also gave me the excuse to want to move out there too. So I kind of followed suit about a year after Tanya moved out there. So basically she was like, why don't you go check it out? And if it's cool, then I'll think about it. Pretty much. Yep. We're both in the cosmetics industry. Mm-hmm. We were not in the entertainment industry. Let's just be very clear about that. I know most people think that that's why you move out to LA, and you do, but we're unlike most. Mm-hmm. The first few years, it was actually a lot of fun. We had really, really great experiences out there, just like what you hear, with the great parties that you go to and all the cool people that you meet. And all the cool homes that you get to see, and all the high-profile people that you get to meet, actors and all that. And that is where I think the high kind of started, and we slowly fell into the deception of New Age. When we moved out to LA after we had completely rejected Islam, we kind of just, as we said before, we were just wandering. I think we were still seeking. We knew that there was a God. We knew that, there was definitely a creator and a higher power out there, but we didn't know exactly who he was. But that just made it all the easier to be deceived there, because Los Angeles is a city where I like to say the city of lost angels, where you have so many New Age practices there that are so prevalent, and many people don't even know that they're practicing New Age there, because it's not like, like let's say like Christianity, where you identify with each other. Like if you're in New Age, you don't go around and be like, are you practicing New Age? Are you practicing New Age? It's not like that at all. There's so many different practices, and it's always self-healing, very, very self-healing. So you're always looking for the next new practice to heal yourself. That never happens. The way that we got introduced to New Age, and I think many people around that same time may have gotten introduced to it the same way that we did, was through a book called The Secret, which also involves the pseudoscientific belief of the law of attraction. And basically, the idea is that you want to manifest all your wants and desires into your life through the power of your positive thoughts, which is very, very difficult, because now you're here trying to control your thoughts, which we know is very, very hard. Like, how do you control your thoughts and keep yourself from thinking negative thoughts? But that's how it really all got started. I guess you could say we drank the Kool-Aid, y'all. Like we dove right in, and coming from Islam, and kind of rejecting all of organized religion, New Age thoughts, which is like new thought, seemed very inviting. It seemed like freedom. It seemed like love and light. It was everything that we were seeking without knowing that we were seeking it. And everybody was doing it. It was just like everybody was doing yoga. Everybody was in this Kabbalah. I remember even with like big celebrities, you would see everyone's talking about Kabbalah, and they had the red strings tied on their wrists, and everybody was doing it. So that really helped us like dive right in, and into something that we didn't know anything about, but into something that sounded so good. But you know what, though? We never knew we were in New Age when we were in New Age.
You don't know.
There's no name for it. I didn't actually never even heard the term New Age until I came out of it.
Yeah.
Which is very, very interesting, because if you don't label something, then you can't define it. And I feel like that's kind of what it was. I would have said I was spiritual or like agnostic. I wouldn't have said I was New Age.
Yep.
So it's very, very deceptive.
It is.
Very deceiving.
Very deceiving. Yeah, New Age really is hard to define. I don't know if there's like a definitive like definition for New Age, but basically what it is it's paganism repackaged in different ways, made to look beautiful and made to feel good, and different practices that have been done for many, many, many years, but they're just done differently now, and there's and it's endless practices, so you're always going from one to the next to the next to the next to heal yourself.
It's very egocentric.
It is,
right? You are essentially your own God, little g. Where you can manifest what you want, and you basically are praying to, angels and ancestors and spirit guides, and like all of these things that basically is anything but God. And it's about the oneness with the universe. Like we're all one and we're all interconnected. And, I think like the visual that they would use is like, imagining like this is so, gosh, when you think back, it's so ridiculous, but it's like think of like a broken like glass, right? Which all these little pieces are separate, but when they're put together, they become one thing, right? So it's like that unity, which kind of gives power and spirit to everything, like plants and animals and rocks, and everything has an energy attached to it, which interconnects.
I would also describe it as each person is a thread, and we all kind of interweave into each other to create like this big tapestry, of life that we're all part of, but we're all one at the end of the day. It's like every single one of us is connected. Even though you believe that you're all woven into one, you create your own reality through the power of your thoughts and through these practices, and you heal yourself, and you are responsible for everything that happens in your life, basically. So God has completely left the building. He's not part of your life. He's not part of, your everyday like practices at all. It's all you.
I mean, who needs God when you are God?
Yeah.
And it's something that we've spoken about, where we're like, when did we stop saying God? Because we always knew there was a God, but the deception is so it's so thick that you go from saying God to like universe. Like I remember like praying to the universe. Well, what is the universe? Like I think about it now and I'm like, what is the universe? Like the universe is a bunch of stars and some planets, but how when you're in it, you're so deceived that you are praying to the universe.
Well, you're basically worshiping the creations versus the creator, which is God. Like you said, the angels, the ancestors, spirit guides, all these other things, crystals, and there's so many things that hold energy and that you connect with, and that's who you're ultimately communicating with and changing energy with. It's not God. The practices that you are doing, which we'll talk about in a moment, it just makes you feel really good, especially from coming where we came from a very dark place, from Islam and rejecting all of that. This just was like, oh, this feels so nice, and you're healing yourself, and you're doing all these practices, and everyone's doing it, and you kind of fall into that trap. Which is so easy because it literally is everywhere. And the way it really begins is through changing your thoughts.
I remember a big part of it being vision boards. Do you remember? Do you remember buying all of these magazines? I mean, back when there actually were physical magazines and cutting them up, cutting out your dream home and your dream car and your dream job and your dream man and it just whatever you could possibly imagine, and you would cut them out and put them on a nice big poster board, and then as if that wasn't bad enough, you would put the poster board somewhere where you would see it every day so that you could imagine it and feel it. You couldn't just imagine it, but you had to put feeling with it, and you had to vibrate at this I don't even know what it was, vibrate at this level, and that's how you were going to manifest it. And The Secret did a really good job of putting on these people that were examples, which we know is not true, but they were examples of manifesting their dreams. That was the gateway. That was here's the door. You guys can come in, and all your dreams will come true.
I dove much deeper into New Age practices than Tanya did, and I think you would agree.
This is a theme in our life, yes, by the way.
It is. From it, yeah.
I kind of stand back and I'm like, you check it out first.
Yes. It began with Islam and now New Age. So the way it kind of began with me is I was big into two things. The first one was meditation, and the second one was yoga. These were the two practices that I was it was relentless. I was practicing pretty much on the daily. So let's start with meditation. So the difference with New Age meditation and meditation as we know it, as Christians, is that New Age meditation, basically what you're doing is you are usually sitting cross-legged on the floor, and you're making some kind of, movement with your fingers, and it's called a mudra, which comes from Hindu practices, ancient Hindu practices. And what you're essentially doing is you are trying to clear your mind. Now, if anyone has ever tried to clear their mind, you'll know that it's pretty impossible.
So I tried. I really did. This was one of the things that I did try, and I just remember being frustrated because she would go into these deep meditative whatever, and I'm over there twitching and all these things are happening, and I'm like, okay. So then finally I'm like, okay, that's it. I have to ask her what do I need to be doing? How do I need to feel? I could never do it, and now I'm thankful that I couldn't.
Yes.
But I remember being frustrated that I couldn't clear my mind because I always had a million things going on up there. And I couldn't.
We all do, by the way.
It's impossible, but some do it better than others. But you were determined.
Well, yes, I was. I was determined to clear my mind.
I would fall asleep,
and I did. I did fall asleep the first few.
I know you would tell me just keep trying. It's okay.
But I was just, yes, I'm going to clear my mind. I'm going to clear my mind. I'm going to do this. And I actually became very good at clearing my mind, which was actually maybe a little bit of a curse. It's not a good thing. You don't want to clear your mind. But what happens is, so basically when you clear your mind and you're not thinking about anything, or you have no thoughts running through your mind, what happens is it opens a portal in your brain, which allows the enemy to kind of infiltrate your mind. Now, we all know that the enemy doesn't know what you're thinking. We know that, like, he doesn't know what you're thinking. However, he can put thoughts in your mind because he's always listening to you. So you have these things, and you may get spiritually attacked, which is what happened with me when I was meditating, and it's just very scary. It's not something that I would ever recommend anyone doing at all. Very, very scary. One of the times that I was meditating and it was clearing my mind, I remember that I was I was laying on the floor of our living room, and in corpse pose, and I was just clearing my mind.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I should have known, right? Corpse posed. Had I just thought about it for a moment, and I was just laying.
Honey, we were doing shadow work. Okay.
Oh gosh, let's not get started on that. As I was laying on our floor, I just was clearing my mind, wasn't thinking about anything, and then all of a sudden, I remember that I could not breathe, and I opened my eyes, and I saw this really, really dark, like, entity, like, hovering right near me, probably about like a couple feet away, not very far at all. And I remember being completely, like, just mortified and just petrified of seeing this dark thing. And the best way that I can describe this thing that I saw is, for anyone who has seen Harry Potter out there, the Dementors on there, that's what it looked like. It looked like this Dementor. And it didn't really have a body. It kind of just looked like this floating dark thing with, like, this dark face that I couldn't really make out. And I just remember I literally could not breathe. And I remember just praying to God, and I couldn't move either. I was completely frozen, couldn't breathe, couldn't move. And I remember just praying to God in my mind, just like, Lord, help me. Like, I don't know what's happening right now. Like, just help me. And as I'm doing this, my eyes are, like, closed. And I remember just opening my eyes again, and it was even closer this time. This time it was like, it felt like it was, like, right up on me. And I remember just being like, I was so scared, you guys. I literally thought that I was dying. Like, I really did. And as this is happening, we have a couch behind us. So this couch is behind me, and I felt something like patting the top of my head. And it was just like patting the top of my head like this, and this other thing is right in front of me. And I remember, like, I literally just could not breathe. And I just remember just praying and praying. It felt like this went on for a very long time, like super long time. And I just remember finally I opened my eyes, and I saw, like, these 3 orbs to the left side of our living room, like in the air, like 3. It looked like bubbles. And as soon as I saw that, and I kind of looked over at this thing, whatever it was, it completely disappeared. It left, and I didn't feel anything on my head. And I took, like, this great big gasp of air, like, and I just started, like, crying because I couldn't believe that this happened to me. Like, I had experienced spiritual attacks before, but this kind of took it to another level. Like, this, I actually saw this dark entity, like, near me. I felt one on my head. I could not breathe. I couldn't move. There was nobody home. You weren't there. And I felt like, is this really happening right now? And who am I going to tell? Like, who would even believe me? Shortly after that, I was just like, okay, I am not meditating anymore. Like, something is not right. Like, it was just so scary. And I don't even know if I told you about it right away, that it happened, because you weren't there. And I was like,
I'm sure
I
I
don't
would have
know who
been
I
like,
can share
okay.
this with. Who's going to believe me? That's my biggest thing. Like, who's going to believe me?
I would have believed you, because growing up, I don't know, you always had some sort of
I did.
connection. because I remember growing up back in Atlanta, you used to watch Unsolved Mysteries.
I did. Y'all, I was obsessed.
And I just remember that man's voice would creep me out, and I could not watch it. And she would watch, and then at the end of the night, she would come knocking on my door. Tawny, can I sleep with you? Or will you sleep with me? And I'm like, like, you watch these scary movies, you freak yourself out, and then I have to come and like lose my bed, or whatever it was. So you always had like that pull.
I did.
Towards
darkness.
Whatever, or they pulled you.
I would say it was towards darkness.
But again, it goes back to that Ouija board.
It does.
It goes back to that Ouija board that we did in your room. And ever since then, it was like that grip it had on you, or that pull that it had.
Yep.
And I remember your room always being cold.
Well, I was always scared in my room. So even when I would go to sleep at night, I remember like I had to have a night light, and I remember like I would be under the covers, like completely, like I'm like sweating under my covers, but I didn't want to take the covers.
But you liked it at the same time. It was a weird, like, you liked it, but it scared you.
It wasn't that I liked it. It was that I felt like a pull, and I was intrigued by it. So I wanted to, go see what it was all about.
The Ouija board was in Atlanta. We were very young.
We were young.
I would say what? Early teens?
Yep. Like 13, 14 maybe.
And we were all intrigued.
We were. And we didn't know any better.
We didn't know any better. We were like, this is cool. We get to talk to like dead people. What? Of course, you don't think you're talking to demons. You think you're talking to dead people, which aren't demons, by the way. They're angels. They're great people. That's what we believed. So we weren't scared. We weren't scared until we actually experienced it on the Ouija board. Like, it really did do some scary stuff. When you like have your hands on it and you're asked, like, you're literally like calling in whatever's out there, entities, demons. I remember us having our hands off of it, and it was still going. And that's when you realize that it's real and something else is here. And I think like something got knocked over. Like, I think it was like
the lights also went out.
Yeah, the lights went out. I mean, there was some real stuff happening. And then when it first happens, anything, you're like, okay, it must be a coincidence, right? It must just be that the light just flickered at that moment. So then you ask for something else, and it keeps happening. And then by that time, you're so freaked out, but it's there, and everything gets cold, and gushes of winds are coming in, and there's no windows open. I mean, it was scary. It was scary. It was very scary. And I think that was the first and last time we ever did the Ouija board.
The thing is, any kind of divination tool that you use, such as the Ouija board, first of all, we have no business using that and calling anything because it's condemned in the Bible. But anytime you're using a divination tool, you are calling something in that is going to be of darkness. And you can't control what that entity is doing in your life. I don't think anyone really knew any better that this is a divination tool. Again, because it was mainstreamed. And anytime you mainstream something, you desensitize, the public from what the dangers that it could actually potentially cause. And I think we weren't aware of that, just like many others weren't. And we just fell into that trap too. I think that when we did the Ouija board, I think that definitely opened a portal or something that we didn't know, and that actually, I think that gave a foothold to the enemy of like, oh, they're curious about this. Like, let's see what we can do. I really do think that like something like that happened, because after that, it was just easy to get into New Age because it was such a subtle shift. But we didn't know that was part of it when we did, partake in New Age practices. Like, we didn't know, like, okay, this is actually part of that.
When you experience something like that, and you know that there are energies, spirits, whatever out there, then when you get to New Age and they're talking about spirit guides and ancestors and all of these entities that they're not described as bad. They're mostly described as good, right? They're angels. They're here to help you. So once you know there's something out there, then it's easier to believe that, hey, there must be some good ones, you know. Hey, I'm sure these angels will help us. I mean, I remember believing in, like, as ridiculous as it sounds, parking angels, because we lived in Los Angeles and parking was always a problem. And I would call on my parking angels and they would show up. I mean, we would be going around and around and around, and the minute that I would say, okay, parking angels, like, I need y'all to come through, like, a parking spot would open up right there. And I remember even to my friends being like, okay, you guys need to just pray to the parking angels and they will come help you. And I remember friends telling me, oh, thank you so much. Oh, what blasphemy, Lord, forgive me. But my friends would be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for telling me about parking angels, because now I don't have a problem parking. So it's real in the fact that there are things there, but they're not good. And even when they seem to help you, in the end, it's to your detriment, right? They help you because they want you to believe in them, so that then, you know, they're called upon, but it's always to the bad in the end, even if it seems like they're good.
In addition to the meditation, I also was very big into yoga. And I know that there's a lot of people out there, and a lot of you out there are like, oh, yoga, I do yoga. Yoga, what's wrong with yoga? You know, we're all just yogis, aren't we? We're just stretching our bodies. We're just moving around and doing different poses. You know, what's the big deal? The yoga poses that we do, and yoga in general, comes from ancient Hindu practices that maybe many people are not aware of. And when you do many of these poses, you are actually paying homage to a Hindu deity, whether you're aware of it or not. Now, I know there's people out there that are like, oh, well, I just put my Christian song on and I do a prayer before I do my yoga. So that's okay, right? It kind of is a slippery slope, because you are doing like specific poses. For example, like corpse pose, when you're laying like flat on the floor, like in supine position, your palms are up, and I mean, corpse pose, like, just think about the name for a second. What was that? But yeah, so you really just need to be mindful about these practices that you're doing and what they mean. Just kind of look into it, and what is the background and where it comes from, and are you like paying homage to something that you don't know about?
So Kabbalah is actually, what I understood it to be, was an extension of Buddhism, but I think it's actually
Judaism.
Yeah, and Judaism. So it's just another like form of New Age, or another type of New Age. The thing is that New Age is so broad, and it's been repackaged so many times that even the same techniques that they were using, and let's say, like, you know, it gets a bad rap, they just change the name and repackage it and resell it, you know. And a lot of New Age is that way. It's like meditation became breath work. What's breath work? It's the same thing as meditation. It's just a new name for it.
The other practices that we experienced when we were in New Age was Reiki healing, sound healing, crystal healing, sage cleansing.
Let's not forget about the QHHT.
Oh, yes.
Which is like a hypnosis. I mean, I think that if we were to list the things we didn't try, it would be a shorter list.
That would definitely be a shorter list.
But nothing ever worked.
No.
And you just keep trying because they keep saying, well, you know, now you got to do this, and okay, now you got to do that. And there's always something new. And if you're not healing, then you're not doing it right.
Yes. So for those who don't really know what, for example, Reiki healing is, Reiki healing is basically you have a person who is a practitioner and they go through like different classes or a school or something, a course, and they learn how to work with energy. And what they essentially do is they use healing energy to heal other people of their ailments or diseases. So that's kind of, and they're called like a Reiki master. So that's basically where Reiki healing comes from. Again, this practice is like through indigenous, ancient indigenous practices, traditions. That's where that comes from. Sound healing is another one. Is another practice where you use different vibrations or frequencies to heal different parts of the body. Again, different ailments of the body. Through different frequencies that are attuned to, and you can use sound bowls, you can use drums, you can use
the pot and pans in your kitchen. No.
I don't know, maybe, but it's just through any type of vibration or frequency. The other one is crystal healing. Crystal healing is like, it kind of sounds really ridiculous, but it's basically the belief that crystals hold different energies, like different frequencies, vibrations. And what you do is based on that stone or crystal that you have, you can place it on certain parts of your body in order to heal yourself of that ailment or disease. Now, how do you know where to place them? Well, there's also this belief that there are 7 chakras in the body. Gosh, this just sounds so crazy talking about it now. But yeah, the belief is that there's 7 chakras in the body. And they basically are aligned in the center of your body all the way to the top of your head. And each chakra, which is basically like a energy vortex, so it holds energy, and each one is assigned a different color. So it's like the color of the rainbow, basically. And each chakra is associated with different part of your body. So for example, you have the heart chakra, which is like the 4th chakra, and that is associated with the heart. So and the color is green. So if you want to heal your heart, like if you have a broken heart or something like that, you take a green stone, let's say like jade, and you place it on your heart, and you just kind of allow the stone or crystal to heal your heart. I know it sounds so ridiculous.
So ridiculous.
But this is the whole idea of these different healings, is you're always trying to heal yourself with these external practices. But you're trying to use these external things and practices to heal yourself within, which never ever happens. Like, you're never going to be healed with these practices.
It doesn't work long term, but it's so deceiving. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could call it the placebo effect, right? It's like you do something and because you believe that it's working, it temporarily works on a very like low level. Like you may temporarily feel like, oh, my heart feels better, my headache's gone, but it's that level of deceiving, right? Where people are deceived into believing that it's working, so that they continue doing it, even though the headache comes back, the broken heart comes back, or whatever it is. But you really are led to believe that it's working, and that's how they keep you on this never-ending cycle of healing practices, because you do feel like it's working for like a hot minute. So these practices really led us deeper and deeper into, I would say, darkness. Like reincarnation was also a big one, where, you believe that it goes back to karma. So it's like you have good karma and you have bad karma, and you want to basically make sure that everything you're doing is good, so that you have good karma, which helps you like ascend, so that when you come back to this world as something higher than what you are, or else, you'll come back as like a rock or like a dog or, like a snail or something like this. So you're literally striving to be this thing that's impossible to be, just so that you don't come back less than what you are, right? So human being obviously is like what you want to be, but not only that, but you want to be at an ascended level of consciousness and understanding.
As we see now, like all of these practices that is part of New Age, there's a common theme of we're trying to heal ourselves. We're trying to heal ourselves. Okay, so why are we trying to heal ourselves? What are we trying to achieve? And the thing that we're all trying to achieve, or trying to achieve, in New Age is this idea of Christ consciousness, and it has the word Christ, so it's not a big deal, right? It's good. It sounds really good. No, that's where the deception lies. So Christ consciousness is a form of ascending to a spiritual enlightenment that many New Agers, they believe that Christ ascended to. So the belief is that he met with these Hindu masters in India or wherever, and he learned how to ascend, and he had all these miracles, and that he figured all of that out, and that's how he ascended into this Christ consciousness. And that's what we're trying to ascend to, the spiritual enlightenment of being able to heal ourselves and do everything on our own and get to this next level, which the deception lies that you're never going to get there. No one has ever in all these years have practiced these endless practices in New Age has ever ascended to Christ consciousness. So this is like some like far out belief that you're never going to reach. It's just always out there, but you're never actually going to get there because it doesn't exist.
So Jesus wasn't really the Son of God.
No, that's not the belief.
He basically wasn't divine at all, right? He got to that consciousness. Yes. And that's so blasphemous in so many ways.
I mean, they use his name for their own agenda. That's basically what is happening. They're using his name to further their agenda and just get people deeper into these dark practices.
It's really just a deeper level of infiltration, right? It's like they're infiltrating religions. They're repackaging the whole idea of ascension, right? You go to back to Buddha and all of these, people that ascended, and now it's like you're infiltrating religion with it.
Yep. One thing I wanted to add is that the belief is that each one of us can get to this Christ consciousness. Every individual is capable of getting there through all of these practices, which actually never happens. When I was practicing, all these yoga and meditation, all these New Age practices, I don't even know why. There must have been a block in my mind, or maybe I was just so into the dark forces, or maybe they had such a big foothold on me personally that I didn't really stop to consider Jesus and, why don't I explore that route, which came up a couple times already on my path, but I don't know why it just never occurred to me okay, maybe this is the route. It was always oh, let me try this new route over here. Everyone's doing this one. This might be right, which we know that that's not true because the road is narrow.
I remember having a Christian friend, especially in LA, who would always talk about Jesus, and in my heart, I always knew that he was real and that he existed. But for some reason, in my mind, I always thought that Jesus was a thing of the past, meaning he's not forever, or he's not coming back, or he's not for us. It's okay, Jesus was sent as a messenger for that time, but not that he was relatable to us in this time. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of what was in my mind, which came from Islam. Because in the Quran, it talks about him as being a messenger. It doesn't talk about him being alive, a living being, so to speak, that we can still relate to. I thought Christians were the ones that were deceived. I thought that religion was created to control the masses. I mean, that is like verbatim what I used to say to Christians and Muslims. Like, oh, okay, well, back then in the old times where there wasn't really like laws and governments, this was what was created to control people. Otherwise, it would be chaos. That's truly what I believed. So when I saw the Christians or whatever, I'm like, okay, you guys are still doing what they were doing like thousands of years ago. Like, y'all need to wake up. When I was the one that needed to wake up.
I thought it was another man-made religion, just much like Islam, and just to keep things in order and keep me where, like just in this little box of this is what you can do, this is what you're not supposed to do, even though like it's probably not a bad thing. But I just saw it as just another way of control. And that probably came from my own personal experiences with Islam, that I was just putting on Christianity, and I didn't want to experience that again. I didn't want to be oppressed, which is what I experienced in Islam, and so I just didn't want to have anything to do with it at that time, even though I experienced such great things with like my Christian friends and going to the church, and I don't know why there was so much resistance for me.
I just want to say that as we have come out of Islam and now New Age, we see a lot of Muslims that come out of Islam and either they're completely like no to religion, or they go right into New Age like we did. So it makes sense. It's like you come from control and oppression and you go into what looks like freedom and love. Actually, a lot of things in New Age has been taken from the Bible, and it's been twisted and turned inside out and upside down, into something that it's not, and into something blasphemous. And as we, learned about these things, the veil, when it's thick, you don't see any of it. I mean, I used to stand in the bathroom and do the I am, which is called mirror work. So you're not only are you saying these blasphemous things, but you're looking in the mirror and you're saying it to yourself. I mean, talk about magnifying something.
So I am affirmations are very deceptive because when you tell yourself like I am, okay, so what is an I am affirmation? An I am affirmation is you're basically telling yourself, sometimes by looking at a mirror, and you're telling yourself how great you are. So I am beautiful, I am smart, I am intelligent, I am great, whatever it is. And the reason I think that this is so dangerous is because when you are saying I am followed by something, you're already telling yourself that you're not, because now you're trying to like talk to yourself and tell yourself that you are that, which means that you feel like you're not. And that gives this space for the enemy to hear what your weaknesses are, because that is a weakness if you're trying to tell yourself you are something because you don't feel like you are. And by hearing that, I feel like that just keeps like a little open door for you to either get spiritual attacks, number one, or number two, you're just making yourself feel a little like it's like you're trying to make yourself feel better, but you end up not, because you're trying to achieve to be that thing that you think that you're not. So you're basically replacing the great I am, which is God, which is Jesus, with yourself, which is complete blasphemy, because you are you are not all of these things without him. He is the great I am. So by saying that, like, you're negating him, which is very, very dangerous place to be. One of the things that I can think of that's twisted off of scripture, which was one of the first things I think that we noticed, was the 144,000, which in New Age is believed that there are 144,000 star seeds. Oh, Lord, like thinking about this is just so crazy to me. But there's 144,000 star seeds that are here to ascend or help ascend the new earth to this new consciousness, to this higher consciousness, which again is kind of complete blasphemy, because you're saying that that God doesn't exist. And now these 144,000 people are here to ascend the earth and everybody else in it.
And if you don't ascend, then you get left with the old earth, and then everyone else ascends to the new earth, which the new earth is taken from the Bible, right? We know there will be a new earth. Astrology. So astrology is taken from astronomy, right? Which God says in the Bible that he will give us signs in the heavens. And that there will be signs. I mean, we go back to Jesus, right? And the sign of the Star of Bethlehem, right? Which told the three magi about Jesus. So we know that the Lord uses the stars to give signs, seasons, hours, right? These things that we know that we're getting. So they've taken that, they've twisted it into astrology. The 12 signs were the 12 tribes of Israel, taken that, turned it inside out, and turned it into astrology, which is completely blasphemous. And it's divination.
We actually ended up staying in New Age for 14 long years, trying to heal ourselves, trying to just be our own little God, and just lost in darkness, completely lost. When you look back, it was very dark.
Los Angeles made it very easy. It made it very easy to stay in New Age with everyone else. I mean, it's everyone. So what else were you? I mean, I had one Christian friend, and that was it. Everybody else, like without a doubt, was either in New Age or in Kabbalah, which is like its sister, some sort of, pagan-like or, egocentric beliefs. After 14 long years of New Age practices and self-healing methods, we decided that something was still missing. And in this, we decided to open a business to share all of these wonderful methods that we had learned with others. So join us as we move back to Atlanta and start a holistic health studio.
Just stay tuned, because it just keeps going.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Narrow Path Navigators. We'd love to hear from you, so please leave a comment, like, and subscribe, as this is the best way to let us know that you're enjoying our podcast.
Tune in next week as we arrive at our last stop on our scenic route to Jesus. We will share how New Age misled us further into deceptive concepts and self-healing practices in our business, until the veil was finally lifted and the truth was revealed. Don't miss how Jesus rescued us from the depths of darkness. Until then, have a blessed week.